Thanks for joining us. As some of you might know, I'm Tony from Mercy Parent Work Family Medicine. As we do the third Wednesday of each month, give a kind of different medical topic. Today we have Dr. Chris Littlefield that's going to talk about sleep changes as we get older. Certainly, either as younger individuals or parents of younger individuals, we know that our sleep schedule is totally different than their sleep schedule in terms of being able to fall asleep and stay asleep. And so, but sleep at any age is very important, particularly as we're older, because it's going to help with our health and our emotional well-being. So today he's going to talk a little bit about sleep in general and some problems related to sleep. Some of it might be medical, some of it might be medication related, and some of the things that we can do to kind of hopefully reprogram our bodies and our minds to develop some better sleeping habits to either A, fall asleep, B, stay asleep, or C, get back to sleep if we're an individual that has to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night or something like that. Because that's usually, for somebody like me, when my mind starts racing the most. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Littlefield, and then we'll stick around in case you have any personal questions.
So I'm Dr. Littlefield. So sleep's extremely important. It's a third of our lives. So it's extremely important for like the people who like work night shifts or have non-traditional schedules because sleep's very hard, especially as we age. So most adults require 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night to actually have the optimal daytime alertness, awakeness. Unfortunately, we're not the Thomas Edisons of the world when we require 3 hours of sleep at night. That's like the 1 in 3 million people who don't require those 7 to 8 hours. Unfortunately, probably none of us. Sleep is commonly less efficient and more interrupted as we age. About one half of the elderly will develop some difficulty sleeping. That's adults in general. So data for Wood County says that 34.4% of adults have insomnia or some issue with sleep. And that's 18 on, and only gets worse as we age. So optimizing that sleep, and I'm not talking medications, I'm talking the little things we can do to help is just going to be more increasingly important as we age. Sleep is necessary to maintain physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Almost every facet of our health is connected to sleep. We can't lose weight without sleep. You can have the best diet in the world, go to the gym multiple hours, you still won't lose weight if you don't get proper sleep. It's just as important. Everything together. Your cognitive function, it affects your hormones, like your immune system. If you're not sleeping, you're more likely to catch illnesses, more likely to last longer. I think the most irritating thing is the most important thing to get better is sleep, and then you go to a hospital and you get the least amount of sleep ever. So loss of sleep or chronic use of like sedating medications may lead to falls. Falls is a huge thing and increases mortality, morbidity. And like some of these medications we use to help us sleep, they're not even effective after certain amounts of time. For example, let's say like a Tylenol PM. Like you take that for 5 days in a row, it's a placebo now because it's built up into your bloodstream. It's not even helpful. Changes in sleep as we ages. You wake up more in the nighttime, you use the bathroom, things like that. You spend more time in bed, or actually sleeping less. We tend to fall asleep pretty early and wake up early as well. Like, unfortunately, our bodies are still stuck in those caveman days when we're supposed to go to bed when the sun sets and wake up as it rises. Unfortunately, just the way the world works, they want us to switch that schedule, but our bodies haven't figured it out yet. We increase our daytime napping. You have some people who are like, yeah, I napped for 3 hours today. I wonder why I can't sleep at night. And we're less efficient with our sleep. There's 4 stages of sleep. Unfortunately, you have to get through them sequentially to get to the last one, which is the most important one, which is that REM sleep. It's the time we dream. It's the time. It's that restorative sleep that we spend less time with, and we wonder why we're tired because we never got to that four-step sleep. Um, so medical causes for poor sleep. So poor sleep conditions like temperature. It's hard to sleep when it's 80 degrees and you're sweating. They say about like 65 is supposed to be like that perfect temperature. There's plenty of data that shows that noise is huge. How you wonder why it's so much harder to sleep in New York City than it is in the country. Light pollution, people sleeping with the television on, our body, there's those sleep clocks that like they wake you up by increasing the light in your room. They're trying to sleep when the TV's on or the lights on. Your body's trying to create those hormones that wake you up, but you're fighting yourself. So those sleep masks and stuff like that are extremely helpful, more helpful than you think. Um, so being increased tired, insomnia and stuff will increase your likelihood for depression, anxiety, which also make it harder to even go to sleep. It's a vicious cycle, unfortunately. Dementia, the loss of familiar settings, which is increases likelihood as we age that we're going to these multiple different settings. And like as you guys probably know, like have you ever tried to sleep in a bed that's not your own and you wonder why it's so much harder? Because it's our body, we're great at like following those habits. So if we're changing our habits, everything's just that much harder. Um, Excessive wakefulness, um, caffeine, for example. I've people are like, yeah, I had caffeine at like 10 p.m. and wonder, like I said, why it's so hard to go to bed. Alcohol. People are like, yeah, alcohol helps me sleep, but the thing it doesn't is helps you get to that REM cycle. You're actually in that restorative sleep less you drink alcohol. So you're going to stay in those first three stages, and you're still going to be tired because we're not getting that restorative sleep. Um, Nicotine, thyroid issues, like those decongestions, like that Benadryl that will build up in your system and no longer is helpful to help with those sleep aids. Steroids will keep you up. There's certain medications like some beta blockers, antidepressants that cause nightmares. Um, there's the blood pressure medications that will increase your alertness. You're dropping the blood that circulates in your body a little bit, so you're going to be more tired. And you have the got a question?
Nightmares aren't considered dreaming sleep.
So like you'll have those nightmares during that REM sleep, but you're more likely to have those nightmares during those beta blockers. You'll wake up. People wake up during nightmares. They don't usually sleep through them all the way through. You're creating a stress response, and your body's gonna be like, "Let's wake up, get out of here." Um, so like, let's say the body's like it has like two different settings. It has the rest and digest setting and the run away from the jaguar setting. So I think it's a terrible situation if I'm run from that jaguar if you're about to take a nap. So waking yourself up, having these nightmares, being scared, your body's not gonna keep continuing to prep itself for bedtime. It's gonna wake you up. Um, Nighttime urination, like unfortunately, like some of the Lasix, those water pills, like how hard is it to sleep when you're continually up and down using the bathroom 12 times a night? But like not controlling those chronic medical conditions, like if you can't breathe, how hard is it to sleep? Um, you're creating those stress responses, like I was just saying. If you can't breathe, your body's stressed, you're waking yourself up. So if you're not using your water pills, yeah, I'm not peeing 12 times a night, but I can't breathe, so I can't sleep either. So like some of the things you can do is like take that water pill earlier in the day. Like get that water off you so you can breathe later so you can sleep. Sometimes we gotta tweak our medication and stuff like that to optimize our health to allow us to sleep without having the side effects keep us up. Um, just like that beta blocker can cause that nightmare, if you're taking it once a day, take it early in the morning. take that Lasix early in the morning. Lasix is named after how long it lasts in your body. It lasts 6 hours. Lasix. So if you take it earlier, you're still going to pee, but you're going to pee in the morning. You're going to get that fluid off. And there's other things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, some of the tremulousness and symptoms will make it harder to sleep. So we got to optimize those chronic medical conditions. There's sleep disorders. Like there's certain sleep disorders that people will be up during, like they want to go to bed during the day and they're up all night. Like their cycles flipped. If you have jet lag, you have other things that just messes with that sleep wake cycle that our body's really good at trying to set. If you're jerking, moving all about, having those restless leg syndromes, those tremors, your body's continuing to move, you're not fully resting. There's sleep apnea. So, like pretty much, if you break it down, if you're not breathing, how are you sleeping? Like apnea is when you stop breathing when you're sleeping. So your brain's not getting oxygen. It's gonna start freaking out. You're gonna wake up. So you can't get to that forced life cycle, that REM sleep. Some people with sleep apnea are waking up 100 times a night because of those apnea events. And then they get that CPAP machine, they get tested, they're using it, and they're wondering, why have I never been so rested my entire life? Well, you're getting oxygen the entire time. Your body's not freaking out because it's not getting that oxygen. As well as the 1,000 other symptoms that being treated for sleep apnea will help. Help your blood pressure and all that stuff, but I won't go into there. So like I said, treatments, for example, is just making sure you have like the correct environment, that quiet, dark, cool place. Like I said, if it's 80 degrees, how are you going to sleep and some on the other hand, if it's 30 degrees, you're going to be shivering the whole time. 65 to 68 is like the perfect temperature for sleep. But everybody's different. Not all the data is perfect. Correct those medical problems. If you can't breathe, you're anxious, all that stuff, it's hard to get to sleep. If you have these sleep apneas, you have the snoring, all of that, you can't get that proper sleep. You correct your sleep hygiene. So like I was saying earlier, our body is really good with keeping routines, extremely good. So if you use the bed for certain activities, don't use your bed for sleep and sex because your body will get to know, like, hey, I'm not doing that other activity. I should be gearing up to sleep. If you're sitting in bed and it's been 15 to 30 minutes and you're getting nowhere, you're like, I can't sleep. All the data shows that if I get up and I go do the dishes, do something for 15 minutes and try again, you're way more likely to be successful. Keeping that same routine. So if you do something before bed every night, like regardless of what it is, your brain will get to think like, oh, I'm reading this book or doing this activity. That must mean I'm going to sleep soon. Your brain will already start prepping you to go to bed because it recognizes, hey, I'm doing that activity. I'm about to go to bed. Like doing those same routines, keeping that schedule helps you out in the long run. Daily exercise. That helps people sleep immensely, but don't go for like a run and get yourself amped up and then try and go to sleep. That doesn't work. Do it in the morning or the afternoon. Light snacks, great to help you go to sleep. But if you have that whole Thanksgiving meal, you're actually going to be tossing and turning a lot. Going pee 40 times a night. Like I said, very hard. So if you limit that fluid intake 2 hours before bedtime, limit that caffeine intake hours before bedtime, you're actually increasing your likelihood of getting that sleep, that restorative sleep. Avoid the things that stop you from being in that REM cycle, that restorative sleep, like the alcohol, the caffeine that keeps you awake. There's certain things that caffeine's great for, like if you're taking a nap, like a 20-minute nap or just an hour nap, having that cup of coffee before your nap. So by the time you wake up, it kicks in. great thing to do. But like if you're trying to go all night long, it's just going to be to your detriment. Wind down before you go to bed with these relaxation techniques like the yoga, the progressive muscle relaxing. Because if you're watching a scary movie and wondering why you can't go to bed, it's because you're amped up. Your heart rate's going, you're ready to get up and go, escape that scary thing. You're not in that rest and digest mode that preps you for sleep. As I said, like use your bed for only sleep and sexual activity. Don't watch the TV, don't read. Read somewhere else. Watch the TV in the living room or something else. Because if you're using that bed for those other activities, your brain's not prepped. It's not following those habits. Like I said, that's super helpful for anything. Keeping a sleep log is super helpful because if you're going and you're like, I can't sleep, and you have that data showing, look, I only slept 3 hours this night, 4 hours this night. It's super helpful for your doctor or your physician to use that data to see what's going on. As far as medications, you can't. It's very hard to sleep if your anxiety is out of control, your depression's out of control. And you know what? Poor sleep will cause those. Melatonin is a great medication. It doesn't actually help with getting you to sleep. What it does is it helps with that sleep-wake cycle. So, like if you're flipping from being a night shift to a day shift, melatonin will help you reset it. But it's not going to make you drowsy. Like if I use it 20 days in a row, that's not really what it's for. That's sleep apnea. If you don't have that, if you have that apnea, that snoring, if it's not untreated, you're not going to get that restorative sleep. You're going to wake up, your brain is not getting all the oxygen it needs. If you're twitching and you're not having those restless legs or periodic limb disorders under control, you're jerking all night. You're not actually sleeping. There are short-term sleep aids, but those are for the short term. They don't always, their effects change. You'll need more. There's tolerances. They're helpful to get you into those habits of sleeping, but they're not for forever. And like avoid some of those antihistamines like those Benadryls. Yes, they're helpful, but their mechanism of action is so long that it's 8 o'clock in the morning and it's time for me to wake up, but it's still trying to make you drowsy because they last for so long, unfortunately. And they also cause other issues like constipation, urinary symptoms that just make your life that much harder. So they shouldn't be relied upon as much as they probably are. So if you optimize those things earlier, like those proper habits, proper sleep environment, we won't have to use those sleep aids as much. Does anybody have any questions?